So, like, I'm a fan.
Yeah, I
Definitely a
was
fan of
not
them.
familiar with the Knox before this, and I'm definitely a fan now.
Oh yeah,
I'll have to go back and find that Wyclef joint you're talking about.
yeah. Kenny Boi, we can hear all of that.
Sorry. That songs I really like, and I'm just like, I'm going back. I had to listen. You know how it be. You gotta listen to them again.
I know. I feel you.
Let me tell you something.
Welcome to After Playlist, the music discussion and reaction podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Terry Yo.
And I'm Brandon Lee.
We love music and talking about it. In today's episode, it is time for another recommendation roundup. And this is our fourth version of the playlist. Basically dedicated to expanding our music horizons with some of our favorite picks that don't have a particular theme. It's just songs that we like, some recent releases, some throwbacks, just all around, just a good mixed bag of, some songs that we just want to throw at you. And back for the first time in a long time is DJ Kenny Boi.
What's up, good people? Glad to be back. What's up, Brandon? What's up, Terrio?
Yes, sir. Welcome back, dude.
Man, you about the hardest person to track down, but we're glad we got you back. You've been busy out there in the street. So for y'all, that don't know, DJ Kenny Boi was our very first guest on the podcast. So, way back in. Here we are, 40-something episodes in and about 89 trailers.
Yeah.
So, it's good to be back.
Oh, yes. And I want to give a quick shout out to all the fans on the DJ Kenny Boi fan group. Yesterday, we celebrated 11 years of that fan page going.
Okay.
We look forward for the future. And I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, thank everybody who supported me, gave me an opportunity to DJ, listen to my mixes, check me out on this podcast as well. Everybody, I say I appreciate y'all besides Terrio.
Okay, that's
fine. I don't like him.
Hey, no, it's totally cool, and we look forward to having you back on another 40 episodes.
Well, with that being said, if you are listening right now and you have not checked out DJ Kenny Boi's stuff, please go check him out. But with that being said, we are going to be referring today to several songs from the playlist throughout the episode. So just to make sure everyone's familiar, I'm going to go ahead and just run through that track list real quick. Starting at the top, we have This Is The Way by Five Finger Death Punch featuring DMX, Blame You by NERO, Goodbyes by The Knox featuring Method Man, Girl, You Chew My Mind Up by The Presets, Way Back by TLC featuring Snoop Dogg, Freak You Down to the Bass, 69 Boyz, Pop
Classic.
The Balloon, right? Then Pop the Balloon, Nothing But Thieves, Chop by Vin J and Krizz Kaliko, My Type by Saint Motel, Hyperlips by Truise, which is a spoonerism. I just love saying that word. Then we have Best Clockmaker on Mars by Sturgill Simpson, Wonderful Nothing by Glass Animals, and then rounding out the playlist, we have two albums. The first one is Flight B741 by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and then Blue Eclipse by Blue Lab Beats. So if you haven't already listened to the songs I just said and that we're about to discuss, we have direct links to the music playlist in the description, aka the show notes for your listening pleasures. And of course, before we dive into all the discussion and everything, we do have our customary after playlist disclaimers. Number one, we respect everyone's opinion, regardless of how wrong and awful it may be. Number two, this playlist may cause some whiplash, but it's totally worth it. Trust me on that. And number three, we're just talking about the music, not any artist, real life, personal, or cancelable issues.
And lastly, if you're enjoying the podcast, be sure to give us a like and subscribe. You can do that on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, basically wherever you get your podcast. And that's the easiest and the freest, aka the cheapest way to support the podcast, by just showing us a little bit of love and recommending us to your friends. Especially with this recommendation roundup, please recommend it because we got some bangers on this one for sure. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, Kenny Boi, with you being our guest, I'll let you go first. on the playlist, what song you want to start off with?
Okay. I accidentally played it while Brandon was talking, but this is one song that I really, really like. My Type by Saint Motel.
Yeah. That's one of my throwback picks for this one.
Yeah. That one, that I related so hard to that song.
Yes. That song, of course, there's a lot of songs on here that really gets you going. But, your 69 Boyz one is more of a, your party bass music. But My Type is kind of like, to me, it's one of those ones where you just get hyped up no matter where you at. You can play it at and kind of get hyped up without, being certain songs is like the 69 Boyz is more for your club, your party atmosphere. Whether it's My Type by Saint Motel, it's like you can be riding the car, kicking it with your friends, having a cookout, and it's just one of those ones that starts, gets the party started.
I mean, just personally, like, I just like the subject matter of the song. It's like,
it's very relatable.
Super relatable. Like, I am probably the most pickiest person when it comes to relationships. And just even all, I'm just like, you know what? I got a very specific taste. But you just my type. Hey, like,
you got a pulse and you are breathing. That's like, it's so great. I do feel what you're saying. What you were saying, Kenny Boi, the like opening and like, the reoccurring like riff, that just gets stuck in my head so much, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I automatically think about Sax Man for some reason. Like when it comes on.
I guess from the DJ's point of view, you hear so many, you would say commercial hits. You really don't get to hear a lot of the album because, to be honest with you, a lot of people don't listen to the album. They just jump from single to single. That's a new way of doing it. Not when I was growing up. Not to, give you my age away, but, we waited for the album. Your singles were dope, but your album had to be on point.
Yeah.
To me, that song in particular, and there's a lot of songs on there as well, it kind of brings me back to the day where each artist kind of wanted their own individual style from each other and wanted to do it their way. And to me, the subject, and also with the subject matters, like you guys saying, is so relatable. So you got a up-tempo, kind of get in the groove, get a party started with a real subject matter. Not just your bubblegum, typical, how much money I got, how many girls I get, depends on what you listen to, shoot them up or do coke,
Sometimes both at the same time.
Absolutely. But to me, it just brings that nostalgia back when music was music, and you can just rock to it.
Absolutely.
I think that was off of their like first album as well, if I'm not mistaken. I guess it's a throwback. It came out in like 2012 or 2013.
Oh, wow.
It's been a song that I've been sitting on and have been enjoying for close to a decade now. I don't think I found it whenever it like first came out. It's a couple years after it came out, but yeah, Saint Motel has a lot of good songs in that same vein as well.
Okay. What about you, Brandon? What other song on this playlist you want to jump right into?
I want to talk about the one at the very top. That was one of your picks. This Is the Way, a 5 Finger Death Punch featuring DMX.
Yes.
Or, this is the way
it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, I got notes on my picks. So that one, I stumbled across that one because I was just like, I don't know. I think I was kind of going through a DMX phase at work. And I was just like, you know what? I just need to, kind of just go up north for a minute because working where I work, we down here in the South. So I've been listening to like a lot of Southern music, a lot of just a lot of all that stuff. So I was like, I need to go back to like lyricism. I need to hear lyrics. So I was just in an up north vibe. And I was like, let me listen to old school DMX. And then I was searching an algorithm and then I saw that come up. I was like, what? 5 Finger Death Punch at DMX? What? And I saw the year because that came out earlier this year, 2024. I was like, what the hell? So I put it on and I fell in love immediately. So this song is like similar to Eric Sermon and Marvin Gaye. So basically, they found some unreleased versions or got permission to use some unreleased material from DMX before he passed. And they worked around those lyrics and made it into this song. So I was like, that's perfect.
DMX's like his voice and his rap styles, just, I don't know. It wasn't until like listening to the song I realized like it just lends itself so well to like a kind of heavy rock
It really
song.
does. It really does. And like, I'm just like, I know
so
he's
seamless.
I know he's done like very few, not done, but did like a few remixes back in the day. But like, I don't think he's ever done like been featured on a rock song. But then again, I don't know his whole discography like that. But yeah, like
I think he has.
Okay.
I think I remember someone. I don't know if he was originally part of it or a DJ mixed it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I've heard that. I heard that type of mashup before with him.
Yeah, I could
definitely see it. It makes sense.
Yeah, if I can go back in time and get him to like do like some shit with like Foo Fighters or something like that, would be like bananas. So
yes.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. DMX vocal range and his aggressiveness on a mic does lend well with this music, that style of music. When I heard it, I definitely fell in love with it as well as being a big DMX fan. I think that's like, it gives you another side of DMX, even though like if you were to put that on another beat, it would be mad aggressive, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you put it on this one, it's kind of it gives you kind of a laid back feel to it, which kind of changes the directory, of how he's coming out in his rhyme scheme, in the manner of his rap as well. I think whoever did it was just ingenious. It's just a flat out good song.
Also lyrically, like you were saying at the start for this one, Terrio, I really enjoyed just the lyrics behind it as well. Just isolated by themselves, it's got a good message. I feel like.
I mean, I enjoyed it, and I like the little Easter egg of stop drop. Like he referred back to that in the lyrics that he mentioned, whether it's rock and roll. Here we go. I'm like, that's like kismet.
Yeah, so, it really is.
Like, I
wonder if they had that same moment in the studio and they were like building the song, like with, the unreleased audio or whatever. Like, we got to use this. This line has to be in there. 100%. Like, I'm sure it has to. I'm sure that had to have happened.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like there's moments in the studio where you be trying to make some shit work and it don't work, but then you find something that just fits perfectly. It was like, I don't care what we got to do.
This is going in there.
We're not leaving the studio until this is in this. So, but yeah, I definitely enjoyed that one. Let's see. I'm going to toot my own horn for a minute. So there's another song on here that just struck me immediately, and that was NERO, Blame You. That song, I don't know what it is other than the electronical sound, but like old girl's voice from NERO. I think her name.
It's such a good. I was thinking about this earlier today. It is such a good mix. Like just the way her voice with the music is like so seamlessly like matching the vibe of the song.
Yeah, it's like aggressive but yet chill, but like emotional at the same time. You can hear the emotion in her voice, and like there's not many lyrics, but just her delivery of it all. It's just like it hits you in the gut.
Her delivery, where it's got like, I don't know how much of it is like just her singing and how much was the electronic tweaking of it, but like it's got like that like kind of like raspy. I don't know if raspiness is quite the right word for what I'm trying to say, but it's got just this effect to it that, like I said, it just like blends almost with the music. And a very nice, like, just it's so pleasing to listen to.
Definitely.
Yeah. For me, this is going to sound weird, but I hated the intro. I thought it was too long to get into the song, but I also love the intro because that's how the hell you build a beat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it went through stages before it finally hit. And then when it hit, I did not expect it to go the direction it went when the beat dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was dubstep, but you guys are referring to electronical. But it sounds like dubstep to me.
It is. So
yeah, they're like a dubstep.
It is.
Or at least they came up in like dubstep's heyday. Because didn't you like years ago send me like one of their like earlier albums, Terrio?
100%. And that's one of the songs I sent y'all earlier on before we recorded today.
Innocence.
Yeah. So NERO has a special place in my heart because that was when I started pivoting from hip hop and R&B and decided to go full electronica and EDM to try to learn more about it. And that's like around the same time I discovered hybrid as well as dubstep in general. And when I heard Innocent, I was like, what is this? And then I just kind of let it play, and then it built up, like you said, Kenny. It built up, and I was just fell in love with all the effects and all the EDM stuff. And it just, I don't know, like it just really just, I guess, spoke to me. But yeah, like this is back in 2011. So this song came out earlier this year, way early, like in January 2024, and this is like one of their first new releases in like 5 years. And they're planning to release their third album. So they've been doing a lot of different remixes and stuff like that, and doing different parties and stuff like that. But as far as releasing new material, I was shocked because again, I was kind of just going through the archives. I was like, I wonder if they've done anything new. And I saw that, I was like, what? So I went back and listened to the little EP they had with some of the singles that they dropped this year. And this is one of the 5 songs that they released this year that I was like, oh, this is like perfect because it's sultry yet subtle, but yeah, in your face. And I like, because, let's face it, dubstep is kind of fading out, but they're still kind of hanging on to the sound, by like kind of muting it down a little bit. So it has elements of dubstep, but it's not like robots fucking like beforehand, but it's more like robot spooning at this point.
Yeah, that's a good way to, honestly, good way to put it. I just want to say, I hadn't thought of NERO, like whenever you, like maybe back in like, what was that, 2015 or maybe 2014 to 2016, somewhere in that range is whenever you had sent me that, like one of their earlier albums. And I remember listening to them a ton, like constantly at that time. But then I guess because they hadn't really, came out with music super recently, or maybe I had to sit and keep up with them, I hadn't thought of them like really since that time. And so I saw NERO, and at first I was like, NERO, why does that sound familiar? And once I was actually listening to the track, it all came like rushing back. And it was just, I was super excited super happy that you had put this on here.
Yeah, and they also collaborate with other EDM people too. So like they did like a remix of I forget this. I think it's a song by The Heavy. I forget how it goes, but both NERO and Skrillex collaborated on the beat on the remix of it. So and there's moments where it's distinctively NERO, and then there's moments where it's distinctively Skrillex on this remix of this one song. And I'm just like, that's what I like to hear when it comes to the music gumbo of music producers. This producer has this sound. This producer has this specific sound. You put it all together, it works together, but then everybody still maintains their identity. It's not just like a hodgepodge of just goop. Like you can hear everybody's contribution to the song, and I thought that was hella dope.
I agree. They've definitely continued to perfect, I feel like, their style.
Yeah. All right, Kenny Boi, you up?
All right. So I'm gonna have to go with Blame You was pretty good. I gotta admit, I enjoy that song, but The Goodbyes by the Knocks, I gotta get that. I gotta say the best song on the freaking playlist.
If you hadn't said that one next, it was gonna be my next pick. So
yeah, man, that's literally the best.
That shit goes so hard, dude.
It does go hard.
that one I just rock. As soon as that first 3 seconds of the song, you can't help but rock with it.
Oh man, it's like the sample is like, okay, cool, all right, I'm enjoying it. But then with that beat drop, man, my whole neck fell off. You hear me? I was ready to go. I was like, like, oh man, that shit was so good.
Yeah, and Method Man really brings it in that song. I feel like
honestly, like again, Method Man, somebody I listen, I know him, I know his work. I'm not like, I'll be the first to admit I'm not like a Wu-Tang connoisseur, all that good stuff. But when I heard him spit on this, that was a flow I was not expecting coming from Method Man at all. Not to say that he hasn't done that in the past, but I wasn't expecting that from Meth. And the way he wrote that beat, like it's an automatic repeat. Like
it's almost like he had a method.
And he's in the way he
rapped.
Man, get the fuck out of here.
I mean, with the rapper name Method Man, and you're saying I didn't expect him to do that.
But here's the thing too. I thought about that too because Method Man back in the day he went by Meth. I'm like, I don't know if you can say that so much anymore.
There's a line where like he ends one of his. It might be whatever he ends his verse or whatever. But he's like Meth. The first couple of times listening to the song, it did crack me up. I was like, okay, I know it's Method Man, but you're literally just shouting meth on a song. Like,
I mean, in this day and age where songs about taking drugs all the time, I mean, hell, Molly Percocet came up in a Future song. Everybody knows that through that, so you might as well just say meth. And honestly, a good part of America is going to love him because he said meth.
I mean, honestly,
meth is still a problem in America, so it may work out in his favor.
Anyway, so a little bit of Easter egg but a little background on how I discovered this song. Because this song was old. This song came out in 2018. So the Knocks, I ran into them when I was hanging out with a buddy, and I don't know what platform he was using, but he played another song by the Knox that is still in my rotation for back in the day, for 2016. There was a song the Knox did with Wyclef. And I was just shocked. I was like, the fuck? Like, Wyclef Jean got a new song out? And it's a different vibe, but similar. It's still bass heavy or whatever, but like the Knox, the producing team, like they're based in New York. So they've been like just phenomenal work. But when I heard that song Kiss the Sky and then Wyclef just goes off in that hook, that song, man, I think I listened to that song no less than 13 times in a row. And like, I was like, okay, let me let this song rest. Let me retire it for a minute. And then I switched over. And then I was like, okay, Method Man, the Knox. Okay, I know them. Put that on another 15 times in a row. So, like, I'm a fan.
Yeah, I was not familiar with the Knox before this. And I'm definitely a fan now.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to go back and find that Wyclef joint you're talking about.
Yeah. Kenny Boi, we can hear all of that.
Sorry. That songs I really like, and I'm just like, I'm going back. I had to listen. You know how it be. You gotta listen to them again.
I know. I feel you.
Let me tell you something. That song by the Knox, right, and Method, gave me a couple ideas of some blends. And some 10-minute mixes that I'm about to start working on. So, to be honest with you, y'all wasn't supposed to hear that. But that particular song, if you heard it, will be a part of one of the mixes.
Okay.
So as we talk, I'm still formulating how I want that mix to go. But y'all wasn't supposed to know that.
So that just goes to show you, once a DJ, always a DJ. Like, you hear music all the time. Like, you just can't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
It really is. It's hard for me to listen to it without my DJ mind frame, because the only thing I think about is, okay, I'm listening to the song, listening to the structure, how I can bend with. So then I started thinking of what can I mix with it? Can I drop the vocals here? I add a different beat, or then how can I transition to another style, and how can I incorporate these songs into like a hip hop crowd, or or like country music or whatever, because people love those gems or those nuggets you hit them with they weren't expecting. Because majority of people just love music. If it's good, it's good. So
that's super fascinating to me. As someone who does not have the like producer DJ brain that you two both seem to share as much, at least. I feel like I've been cultivating it a little bit through this podcast to some degree.
It's growing.
But yeah, it's just that mindset is just so fascinating to me, how you guys approach listening to music.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's definitely let me analyze it. Well, let me enjoy it for a moment, then analyze it, dissect it, and then go back and enjoy it afterwards.
Well, that's what you do anyway, though.
Be that as it may. All right, Brandon, what you got?
Well, you tooted your own horn with your picks. So I'm gonna toot my own horn with "Pop the Balloon" by Nothing But Thieves. Do it for you.
So okay, so I heard this and okay, is this song about what I think it's about?
What do you think it's about? Yeah, what do you think it's about?
Okay, so what happened was, right, I kind of fell into one of those rabbit holes on the internet, and people like balloons, like really, really, really like balloons, like to completion balloons. So is this like one of those kind of things, or is it something else?
How the hell did you come up with that?
Don't worry about it.
I don't think so.
Because like the first two lines got me. It was like, pop the balloon, does it do it for you? So that's how I was wondering. I'm just like, because that's a whole world of people that.
Well, so it says
finish with balloons.
It starts with blow up the moon, pop the balloon, do it for you, kill the dead club city.
Oh, okay. I misheard something completely different there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Okay. How did you come up with that?
Hey, I didn't come up with. I just heard "pop the balloon" and I thought I heard "does it do it for you?" I was just like, oh.
Well, he does kind of.
It does say kind of something kind of like that.
I could see how you could hear that for sure. I took it as like I don't know, like I don't 100% know what pop the balloon means outside of like kind of like a pop the bubble type thing, like a take the plunge, like if you have something ballooning, you just pop it, get it over with type deal.
Okay.
That's how I took it. And it was kind of in my head, like more of a nebulous, like could apply to a lot of different things. If you're like trying to, maybe you're hesitant to like do something that you need to, or you're really wanting to do, but for some reason something's holding you back. But like I really don't know, because it's
people do with balloons.
Say what?
Searching what people do with balloons.
I mean,
yeah, I don't even want to know how you got down that rabbit hole.
It was not my fault.
You need to go back and delete some search history, I think, probably.
Look, there's a variety of different things that people enjoy, and apparently that was one of them that I did not understand and was low-key curious about it. And that's where my curiosity went, and I immediately went backwards because I was like, I don't belong here. But it was fascinating because everybody has their own thing.
Well, I mean, that's true. That's true.
That's fair. I honestly, I'm not 100% sure. What I just said was my own interpretation of the song, but it's got a lot of like, I guess like poetic type lines throughout the song that don't necessarily at a glance connect to each other. So the meaning, I feel like, is very much up to interpretation. So maybe it is what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know nothing but Thieves personally. Maybe that's their thing. I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. But yeah, I was excited to see nothing but Thieves over here because I do like their music, and I do like like the song. The production wise on the song is just, I love their singing. I like the way they make their songs. It's just like, I don't know. It's just, and I like they did the same thing that Periphery did. Like it's like a nice little intermission in the song to where you think the song is over, but then it picks right back up again. Like I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Which is the reason I picked this, because this is off of a technically the album this song came out last year, but they had a deluxe edition that had like some extra live and like remix type versions at the end or whatever that came out earlier this year. There's several good songs on that album. You should definitely go check out the whole album if you enjoyed this. But the main reason I picked this one off the album was because of that, where it has that like, it slows down and the music is very soft in the background, and they're saying something about we're going to float away or something. I don't remember off the top of my head. But then it comes in with that just like the guitar shredding for just a second. Yeah. And then it goes back into pop the balloon. Yep. And it's just, it's just that the ending just, man, it gets me.
Yeah. So speaking of popping balloons and people getting to completion, let's get into Hyperlips. I was pleasantly surprised by that song. First of all, let the record show, I did not pick this song.
Nope, it does sound like totally something.
It definitely sounded like something that I would pick, but I definitely was not expecting that from you. I don't know why, because I don't know. I should, but I don't know why I didn't. So when the song came on, I was just vibing to it. I was like, okay, the lyrics gonna come in any moment now.
Nope.
Any moment now. I was like, oh shit, this is just a beat. So I was like, okay. So it's just, I don't know. Like, I guess with all the whiplash going on the album, just when that song came on, it was kind of like a nice, because like this is kind of my quote unquote music copy beans style. So when that song came on, I was just like, okay, I feel at home. I feel at peace for a minute, because it's just a jam. It's just a vibe. Just so cool. I love it.
I picked a song. I rediscovered this song. It was like way near the very, very bottom of my like YouTube liked videos, songs, whatever. This was a song that was one of my favorites to play back in the day. Whenever I was in college, I had a little Honda Civic that the car itself was a piece of junk, but it had like a super, super nice like sound system and like a super heavy bass that basically took up my entire trunk. That was probably worth at least half of what the car was worth. And I just remember this would be like one of my favorite songs to play, because like whenever the like beat really comes in, it would literally like be giving me a massage just sitting in my car if I had it cranked up high enough.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And it just brought back all that nostalgia of that time of my life. And Truise is a very good electronic producer, I feel like. I don't know if any of his songs have, you said you were kind of waiting for lyrics. I don't know if I think all of his songs are kind of like this. If I remember right.
Yeah. Again, I forgot about Truise too as well. But again, I was just listening, just letting it ride through. And then the song came on. I was just like, just listening. And I'm just like, okay, any moment. And then I looked at the actual screen. I was like, oh shit. Okay. So
this song and this album that it's from came out during a time, like we were saying earlier, when like dubstep was kind of at its heyday. And this definitely kind of like branched off a little bit from that with the more like computery, electronic-y sounds that he utilized and sampled or whatever, which I've always just been drawn to, I guess.
Yeah.
And for me, when I would say this too, first, actually, with a song title being called Hyperlips, when the music played, it threw me completely off because I was expecting them to either be a subject, well, first to be somebody singing or rapping. Number two, the subject matter being something, when I think of the name Hyperlips, I'm thinking like a girl that like kissing, girl that kiss a lot, right? So I'm prepared for all that, and that's not what I got, which was,
Not at all.
I'm glad, because I think that came out better than what was in my head. Number two, I think that the instrumentation and arrangements was actually pretty good. Again, it felt like that slow, drawn out, area like an M. Night Shyamalan movie where it takes forever to get to the meat and potatoes. But once it got there, it was there. I definitely think this is the first time I've ever heard of that group or that particular song. This would definitely be something I would will draw me into listen to more, because I think it is worth the listen. You just got to prepare yourself for people who've never heard them before or that style. I think it would throw them off. They'd probably lose interest in the first 5 seconds, unfortunately. But
yeah, especially now with songs being okay. I was gonna wait to bring this up at a later date, but I'm also bringing it up now. So while trying to find an album to listen to or to put on the playlist, I was like, checking out new releases. And I was like, a new album by such and such, new artist, new album by this person. I was like, cool, no problem. Oh, let's see how long. Album got 18 songs on it.
Yeah.
Whole album is 30 minutes. I was like, what the hell? Like, why are these songs so damn short? Like these songs are hella short now.
Right, so, yeah. This new thing going on in the industry, the little insider tip. What they're doing now is that they make more money off of making, and this is what you guys were just saying, shorter songs, but more songs, because the attention spans of most of their fans won't go 3 to 5 minutes, or one of our favorite rock bands that every song in the album's like 23 minutes because the band just starts going nuts. But they don't. Those days are over. So I think we're always going to end up with the short songs that feel incomplete, because again, your attention span. What's the average song now? What, 3 minutes?
No, not even that. Like
two and a half.
Yeah, 2.5
now.
Yeah.
Which I also think, just with streaming have being taken over the music industry, I wonder if if you have a shorter song that could potentially relate to like more plays.
That's 100%
because in the time that one person could sit down and listen to, like you were saying, Kenny Boi, like a 20-minute song, you could play the 2-minute song 10 times. So I'm sure there's probably incentives for artists to, they probably get like more money in the contracts or whatever versus how many plays each song has and whatnot. So that's got to be at least somewhat of a factor.
Oh, it got to be, because if you look at the structure of where these songs are going, and all of them getting shorter and shorter, it's got to be some type of incentive driven or numbers driven or some formula that they're telling these artists to make shorter songs. But then again, if the attention span is short, what's the point of making those long songs? But I think it's still, you get a good group or good artists and good musicians or good bands or what have you. If the song's long, they're going to listen to it anyway because they just enjoy the song.
Yeah, exactly.
If you look at all the classics and the legends of each industry, from country, hip hop, R&B, blues, rock and roll, punk rock, they all have at least one song that's about 6 minutes plus in their catalog. Yeah, everybody does, all the way back into old school. So I just don't think these new artists, even though they're very talented and skillful, I just don't know if either it's the time or do they really have the talent to compete with older artists. That's just something I thought about.
Well, that's true. I definitely agree with that. But I do wonder if, because of that, like, it is harder, I feel like, artistically, to make a song that's like 7 minutes long and make it in a way where it keeps the listener's focus for that entire time.
Well, it depends. So there, okay. I keep bringing this person up, but I'm trying not to. But it's the best example I can think of right now. If you go back to like Justin Timberlake's Future Sex Love Sounds album, like a lot of his songs were longer like that, but they feature different interludes and stuff like that, like segues into other songs. So I think if they were to produce more songs that have transitions into the next song versus like it kind of just bleeds into it, that may work. But then again, it's also the mindset of the industry too. So people tend to follow the money and not necessarily the art. And I'm quite sure there's some artists out there that are still out here doing the things like, everybody knows LMA gotta, talk to you at the every song. So, just like just one of those things, like everybody has their own thing or whatever. So
well, I'm sure that's also been true for like all time to some extent. It's just looking back at, time past now, you only really remember the songs that have stood the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. All right. Speaking of test of time, go ahead, Kenny Boy.
Oh, I thought you were gonna do a plug off my little mixtape.
Nah, I'm cutting that shit out episode.
All right, you go ahead.
Look, you get one plug per 40.
Check out the DJ Kenny Boi Test of Time.
You get one plug per 40 episodes.
Plug, nope. All right. So one of my other favorite. Now there's two that I wrestle with, but I'm gonna hold on one because I think I can have another round.
No,
I should be able to say one more.
Go ahead and do both because we still got two albums to talk about.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We got the best Clockmakers on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Sturgill Simpson, and then Chop by Vinny J and Krizz Kaliko. Kaliko, my bad. Let's see. I start off with Chop. Chop is another one. I'm an up-tempo guy, high energy guy, so that's something I really gravitate to those. The song was just grooving. Enjoyed every bit of it. It was a welcome change. I love the subject matter. I love the way they delivered it. It's just a good song, period.
So I'm familiar with Krizz Kaliko through Tech Nine, through Brandon. So when I saw Chop and I saw Krizz Kaliko, I was like, oh, I already know there's gonna be a speed rap. Like I didn't even listen to the song, but I was like, I knew the flow was gonna be there. Mm-hmm. Now Vin J, what's up with him? Like I don't know anything about Vin J.
I don't really know too much about him either. He's a white guy rapper. For those of you who don't know, Krizz Kaliko, like Kenny Boi just said, he started out at Strange Music, being Tech Nine's kind of hype man, as well as having his own albums and stuff with the label for many, many years. But in 2021 or 22, left to make his own label, Earhouse Inc., I believe. I was looking it up earlier today. And this is like the first really songs that I've seen him come out with. And this is like one of 4 or 5 tracks that I've released in the last month or two, all featuring Vin J. So I feel like he's going to be maybe like a leading artist on his new label. And he's like really, trying to build him up a little bit.
Yeah.
He definitely, like in this song, he definitely has, pardon the pun, but he has the chops. I feel like
I knew that was coming.
Yep, you should know that was coming.
Like he definitely brought it, and he did. This song did actually lead me to go back and listen to some of his like other songs, just that he has by himself, and he's been putting in some work in the last several years. I feel like trying to get into this point. So I'm hoping. I really enjoyed the song. I'm hoping that this is like just a sign of like them blowing up in the near future. Okay. I'm optimistic for that.
Yeah, I'm definitely. That definitely sounds hopeful. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, okay, so I enjoy it for what it is. It wasn't earth shattering. It wasn't like blow my mind by no means, but I enjoyed the song for what it was, particularly on this playlist because it definitely stands out on this playlist in general. But the song itself, I mean, there's no hook. It's just straight bars the entire time. So
I really like the bouncing back and forth. There's not it's not even like a whole, Krizz comes in with the verse, then Vin comes in with the verse. It's literally like, I don't know, like almost like half verses, and they just keep bouncing back and forth. And the seamlessness of that was very, even like the way they end, like it gets like shorter and shorter with the last few lines they have. And then they like end, coming together and we're here to chop or whatever the last line is. Like very well done.
Definitely well done. However, let's go to Mars real quick. Cause that damn Clockwork on Mars, yo. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I gotta give a shout out to Taylor, who was on for our country stories episode recently, recommended this album to us. The whole album is phenomenal. I think it won a Grammy,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. It's also it was written to accompany a Netflix show or film, also called Sound and Fury, which I've not seen, but I could definitely see, just like listening to the album, several of the songs. It makes me like, I'm imagining scenes in my head of what it goes to. So I'm like I gotta watch it at some point. I'm super curious how it all ties together.
Oh yeah, it's such a vibe. Like I'm not familiar with Sturgill Simpson at all, but listening to this song in particular, yeah, I'm definitely a fan. Like I'm definitely planning on, if we didn't have so much listening going on this week, I definitely would have spent more time going back to that album, because again, going from Hyperlips right into this, it was just like
Whiplash.
It's a flash, but like it was cool because again, like it was a mental reset for me, and then it went right back into the vibe again. I was just like, okay, so I guess it allowed me to pay attention to it more. But yeah, I definitely, while listening to it, it definitely transports you to like a different world, more or less, and you kind of can see the imagery within the song itself. And I like songs that make you, like, while you're listening, you're picturing what's happening.
Yeah,
you know
it's like literally just the music itself is painting a mental image for you. I agree.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful when songs do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, Brandon, what you got?
Okay. I'm gonna bring it down a little bit. I'm gonna talk about a song I didn't necessarily vibe with too much. I want to see what y'all's thoughts are.
Go for it.
Girl, You Chew My Mind Up. So it's oddly enough, with just how I am with music, I really enjoyed the beat and the production on this one, but it was his singing was kind of threw me off for this song. It did not. I will say, I was looking it up earlier today. It came out in 2005, which was surprising to me.
Yeah,
it definitely has a more recent, like, kind of sound vibe to it. I will admit that. So I feel like it was maybe definitely ahead of its time. I don't know how successful it was when it came out.
Oh yeah, it was definitely successful. And like I said, the song came out in 2005, and this is off the Presets debut album. And the Presets are a dance electronica duo from Australia. Mm-hmm. So apparently, I like Australia too.
I mean, we all do. We'll get to that in a little bit with the albums.
Okay.
Oh, well, I have to agree with Brandon. I was not feeling this one.
You know what?
It seemed like the instrumentation was kind of clashing with like, it was a very annoying kind of a thing for me. I do like his voice, and I do like the way he sung. Mm-hmm. He sung the song. It's just the only thing that threw me off, it was the main chorus was just more annoying than anything. That took away from the song. So let me correct it. I don't hate it. I would listen to it again, but it wouldn't be top of my list.
It's literally the girl. That part kind of grates on my nerves a little bit. The rest of it's like, okay, singing wise.
I like that part.
That was the part I didn't like.
Because it's kind of like he's playing in the song, so he's having fun in the song to me. So it's just that noise, like.
It's funny. We're coming at it from like opposite ends right there.
So both of y'all are annoyed by the song. Different elements annoyed y'all.
Yeah, different.
Meanwhile,
I'm
over here smiling with glee because I like the just fuck it. Let's just throw all the effects on at one time, and also I like the bass riding at the same time. So you got the. And it missing all that, and like I actually like the third verse where they just repeat the same verse again, but they so synthesize it and chop it up to where it's just like. The only thing I personally don't like about the song is the 5-minute outro of just the
like that. I ended up skipping that a lot.
That's the song.
That's the only part. But at the same time, I'm laughing because the song itself is so goofy and so fun that like I would expect nothing less of an outro of a song with it being as crazy as it was. So this song was a gamble because I was going through listening to my old dusty ass songs that I favorited, and I was like, oh, you know what? I feel like I've been safe. I've been playing it safe on the podcast for recommended songs for a while. So I was like, you know what? Let me throw some wild shit in here.
You succeeded in that.
Yes.
I'll give you that. It's definitely a unique sound. Like, I can't argue that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, make you want to bust your own eardrum.
I mean, but here's the thing, though. Like the way the song is set up, you would never know if your speaker's busted or not.
Facts.
That is true. That is also true.
So that's fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So I guess I'll jump right into Brandon's last pick of the songs before we get into the albums. Wonderful Nothing. This one had to grow on me. I would have to say Tangerines by Glass Animals has ruined me.
That's still my favorite song by them, I think. Even with the new album that this song is from is really good, but Dreamland was something special. Tangerine especially, yeah.
Exactly. So going into this, I was expecting that. I shouldn't, but that was just in my mindset. Because I was like, oh, no Tangerine. I like this. So when I saw Glass Animals, I was like, okay, cool. This is going to be cool. And then it came on. I was like, this isn't.
It's definitely a different vibe.
Definitely altogether. A different vibe. And I was like, this isn't what I thought I was going to get. I'm not mad at it, but I'm just like, okay. So it took me a minute to kind of come around to liking it. So again, I like it. It's, it's cool. It's a nice segue into the next album, I feel.
I definitely agree with you. I had to listen. I knew I wanted a song from the album for this playlist. It was like fairly new. Just came out like a month or so ago at the time of this recording. I had to listen through the album like 3 times before I decided this. And it was literally like the 3rd time through that this song kind of like finally hit for me. I like totally the first 2 times I totally just like listened to it. Was like, we go right to the next one. But yeah, it definitely grew on me. And I like the little, I don't know if it's like a piano or like violin or synthesizer, whatever they're using, but the little like run that goes throughout has been like just that little riff has been stuck in my head from this song. And lyrically, it's got some depth, but
yeah, like that part I definitely like. I definitely enjoyed the lyrics for sure. It's just sonically, I was expecting something other than that. I don't know what I was expecting. I just wasn't expecting that. But then once I kind of got used to it, after a couple listens, I was like, okay, I'm giving it an unfair bias treatment, and I accepted it for what it was. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
You have any thoughts on that one, Kenny Boi?
He forgot
I'm
the
still
song.
waiting for it. No, actually, shut up. It took me a while to actually kind of let the song grow on me. For me, I don't hate the song. I don't love it.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
So it don't sound like a Glass Animal song. It sounds like an early Fall Out Boy song or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. I wasn't thinking Fall Out Boys. I was just like, it just reminded me of somebody else too much.
Yeah.
So I'm like, were they trying to do, sound like them as kind of a gesture saying we respect y'all? Or maybe I'm just not catching it.
No, that's definitely a fair thing to point out, because the whole album definitely does not sound like any of their other albums. I think this is their 5th album or 4th album. Yeah, for their 4th studio album. And it does not really sound anything like their first 3, which all of their albums have their own, they're very good about having their own style and feel to them. But there's always been the Glass Animals-ness, I guess, for lack of a better way to put that, right? And this definitely is like very different from their other stuff. So I definitely understand or agree rather with what you're saying.
Yeah, it definitely felt more generic or more copy and paste. Not to take away from their talent, but I just wasn't blown away. I was kind of just like, okay, I like the song for what it is, but it could have easily been anybody else. You could easily swap out Glass Animals and have anybody else sing that song.
I will say the album as a whole that the song is from definitely seems to be more like introspective and lyrical focus with less of a focus or doing radically like crazy awesome things on the music side, production side, especially again compared to Dreamland, where it was just like it was just, they had so many good songs from that one. Still like it, but yeah, I understand it. It sounds like all of us, it took a while for that one to grow on us a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. But it's still all right.
Yeah, of all the ones I've listened to in the playlist, this one just sounds too generic to me.
That's fair.
And maybe they were trying to do something with it or go a direction. It's just that I'm taking perspective as also someone who's never heard them before, and you're being introduced to them for the first time. And this is the first song, because once again, this is one of the artists I did not know very much at all about. I heard one song before, and I'm like, yeah, I like the different formula and how they are. It's definitely something different. To hear this is like, did I read them wrong the first time? Or if And if I'm thinking the first time listening, like,
you definitely should go back and listen to Tangerine by then.
I'm about to say, like, you need to go listen to Tangerine right now. Go, like, listen to it right now. Like, part of it.
Just pull it up and listen to it, because I need a bathroom break anyways.
Yeah.
So I'll be right back while you're doing that.
All right.
Okay. All right, we'll start off with this. If Tangerine was the first thing you heard about from Glass Animals, you would definitely start downloading their music and putting them in your rotation. Definitely.
Oh,
this
for sure.
This song hard.
Mm-hmm.
The flow, the groove, and then of course the 808s. You can hear the 808s kicking. If had they been like Terry was saying when you were in your bathroom break, the 808s would have been hitting in the system, and it would have been rocking. And who remind me of what's that? If this hit the radio before that $1 Million Baby, I bet you they would be. I bet you. You put the two together, and I bet you they can outperform $1 Million Baby. This song rocking.
I just want to say I've not listened to that song in like several months, but I just have the down. I have that like immediately in my head. It's so, I don't know. I feel like that's going to be like the one song that like truly, I mean, there's several from them, but that one's going to really stand the test of time, I feel like.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that they put this out and they started broadcasting it more. I think it would definitely draw the public to their attention.
I mean, it did.
Make it radio play as well.
It was a pretty big hit.
Yeah,
whenever it came out, because that was like 2020. It was several years back.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that one and Heat Waves, I think, were like the two biggest hits off that album.
Yep.
Heat Wave like blew up, but I think that was like their single, so it kind of made like before the album came out. So that kind of that's usually how things go, I guess.
Yeah, but Wonderful Nothing. I mean, it's all right, but
it's a Wonderful Nothing.
Well,
I mean, again, lyrically, it's got a lot of depth to like really dig into. I don't want to take the time to like break it all down lyrically, but if you are interested in like having a deep like meaning song, there's a lot of thematic stuff about like relationships and relationship struggles and how that can be approached in the song. It's pretty interesting to me as someone who's a more lyrically focused person.
All right, so let's get into the last two songs so we can jump into these albums.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to start with I'll just go down the line here with "Way Back" by TLC featuring Snoop Dogg. This song let me learn that TLC is like still around making music.
Yes and no. So that song came off their final album. So
okay, well they're still touring. I was looking this up earlier.
Yes.
They are still touring at least.
Yeah.
So, but I always assumed like after
Scrubs?
Yeah. Well, no, after I'm blanking on the artist's name, but the
Left Eye?
one, after she passed away, like, and I guess I did look it up earlier. They did like kind of break up for like a year or two or something, and then they got back together. But I always assumed that was like kind of the end. Like I thought they just stopped after that. But apparently, no. They even in that interim, they were still touring and stuff. This was just, and this came out like what 2018, I think.
2017.
17. Yeah, because at first I was like, oh man, this is like I've heard. We had like way back on the R&B episode, we had some TLC, and they've popped up here and there on several episodes. But like this song, I never heard this song before.
Right.
I was honestly expecting it, not knowing that they had come out with new music so recently. I was expecting this to be like a 90s hit, but then at the same time, it didn't sound at all really like a 90s joint to me.
It definitely harkens back to that era of like G-Funk R&B, but still maintaining a modern sound.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah, so that song came off of their last final studio album that they released in 2017, just self-titled TLC. They released it independently. They basically did a Kickstarter for it with the goal of like just asking their fans to like, hey, just if y'all could do $5 each, that'll help us out. The goal was only $150,000. They raised $400,000 in less than 48 hours for this album. And even celebrities came through and was just like, look, we got y'all. Like, they're
very beloved. Like, they're a very beloved group from the 90s. I feel like a lot of people hold them near and dear to their heart. So that totally checks out.
Absolutely. I just, again, randomly just going through the archives, and I was like, I felt like this song was a hit, but I still felt like it didn't get like enough love because that shit goes so hard. It's
I
just
had
like
not heard it until this playlist, but I did love it. Musically and like lyrically, thematically.
Yeah, like lyrically is what got me. It's just like, you know, we go way back. Like we can not talk to each other for a minute and then like pick up like we just left off again. Like there's like some real friendships.
Oh yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah, definitely relate to that. And
Definitely.
you know, kind of fitting with you and Kenny Boi being friends going way back, right?
No, I was talking about everybody but him.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you assume.
Yeah, exactly.
Pardon me.
No, honestly, like the last two songs actually, let me rephrase that statement.
They're definitely not the 69 boys.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, way back TLC definitely makes us think about Kenny Boi. And we picked these before we even knew Kenny Boi was going to be on this episode. And then that wasn't a reason. I was just like, oh, that kind of fits. And there's a particular, God, there's no way of saying this without making it sound plausible, but not plausible, but like cancelable, whatever. Y'all know what I'm trying to say.
This ain't no Diddy.
Oh.
No Diddy, no doubt. Yeah. So yeah, switching over to the 69 Boy song. I was just like, again, I was driving down the road. I need this upbeat music to listen to, and I was like, you know what? I haven't listened to this album from '98 from the 69 Boys. So because I had 2069, but I never listened to the other album, The Wait Is Over. So I was like, let me just put this on. I was going through my so deaf freaknik phase or whatever at work. So I was like, yeah, let me just, put on something lively to keep me awake while driving. Put on this album, enjoyed it. This song came on and I started laughing. Partly because this is the reason why I said the song actually reminds me of me, which in turns you will understand I'm talking about Kenny Boi. How back in my rapping days, I tend to rap about food somehow. And then this whole song is about rapping about food.
Yep.
and then the beat itself kind of has like a mix between the up north and south. And that was my production style for a minute. Like it was like little elements of like different genres. I was trying to figure myself out as a producer. So it was just listening to that. It just took me back. And then the subject matter of itself was just, this song is nasty as hell without no profanity and no cussing. Like,
yeah. How does this song both make me hungry and lose my appetite at the same time?
Right?
It's amazing.
Like you'd be hungry and horny at the same time and like appalled.
I wasn't appalled at all.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
That's the days, when you're talking about the days of Freaknik and running the streets, of course, I was all into that.
I mean, I get that too, but you can't put this song on and then go to a Golden Corral with a boner. Like, that's not going to be.
Well, you take care of the business first, then go to Golden Corral.
The business is Golden Corral. What are you talking about?
I'm coming at this from opposite directions right now.
I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, the mashed potatoes going to get it. You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, they do have pie.
Hey.
What are we talking about, right?
We're the worst. But yeah, so I threw that on there at the last minute because I was like, this song, I put it in the back pocket. I was like, okay, I got to throw this on the podcast at some point. And I was like, I'm not doing a whole episode dedicated to 69 Boys. But yeah, so I threw this on there because it reminds me of the Florida bass sound. And then just the whole sound itself was just, let me freak you down to the bass, baby. Let me freak you down to the bass.
Yeah, I didn't even quite understand how that made this playlist. You talking about the most random song on the playlist is that song.
It is. But the beat, that beat go hard. And
it
then
does go
like,
hard, man.
And then the song is still just like, I mean, again, Brandon had this song about my type. Freak you down to the bass. I have a thing for northern girls a little bit. So I'm just like, okay, northern, southern cuisine. I like cooking, I like eating, and I like eating. So, it worked out.
I like how you said you like eating, comma, and you like eating. I just want to make sure everyone caught that.
Don't call attention to it. Well, be subtle.
That was nothing subtle about that. But you never described what you like eating. Exactly. But you said 3 times.
Exactly. So anyway,
you do know we're in 2024. They say they always talk about, they refer to it like groceries.
I might like groceries. I might like Instacart too.
I don't even know what the Instacart reference is, but I'm scared to know.
I'm not sure what that metaphor applies to either.
Yeah.
But I I'm content to leave it well enough alone, I think.
Me too. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole.
So we had some albums as well on this playlist. Moving right along.
Yeah, so we got 2 albums on here.
Oh Lord, thank you, Jesus.
So you got the Blue Eclipse, Full Moon Tonight, and then we got, I can't say this without screwing it up. Can you say it for me, please?
Flight.
No,
B.
the group.
Oh, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah.
Try saying that 10 times fast. I feel like it is a tongue twister.
Try to say that at 0.5x. Still be wrong. This album, I will say this.
Wait, which one?
King Gizzard.
Okay.
King Gizzard. I would say this album, the first 2 songs, I feel are kind of misplaced a little bit. It starts off a little slow. You don't know what you're getting into. But once you make it past those first 2 songs, it's just full pedal to the metal. Yeah. Let's go.
Full
and
stop.
Like every song just flows right into each other, and it's like a full jam session. Like I enjoyed this album so much, bro. The other night, when I had a moment when I was just like in productivity mode, I listened to this entire playlist twice, and I got excited when I got to Flight B 741. Yeah, it's just a vibe. Like I don't frequent bars like that, but it definitely gives me that vibe of like being back in a bar, and they got a live band performing, and they just was like, okay, we're gonna play a couple songs to get everybody focus on. Hey, there's music playing right now, and everybody's paying attention. Oh, y'all paying attention now? Okay, let's go. We could just rock out the whole time. Well, I enjoyed it so much.
Much like the Best Clockmaker on Mars, how that came from Taylor, who was a former guest. We had Austin on our funniest or wackiest whatever playlist battle a while back. One of his songs was King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, I Hate Dancing, which because of that, I think, and because of listening to that playlist constantly, whenever this like album, because at first it was an EP with like just 3 songs. I don't remember which ones it was exactly. But then the full album dropped, like literally like the day before we had like set our deadline for you and me to like finalize this playlist, the album dropped. And I was like, oh man, that's got to go on there. I hadn't even listened to it or nothing. But Austin on that episode had mentioned the cool thing about King Gizzard is if they come, this was their like 26th or 27th studio album. They are like prolific in putting out music. But it's like each album is like totally different sonically, thematically, like almost genre wise. It's very different.
Wow.
Apparently they've had a couple other, like kind of looking it up a little bit. I've not listened to hardly any of their music, to be honest. This is kind of me dipping my toes into them more fully. But apparently they've had a couple other albums in the past that were this kind of bluesy Southern rock vibe. But they've also had like full on psychedelic rock, full on like hard metal, full on like more like country vibe. Like it's just, they're all over the place. But this one definitely hits. The bluesiness is like definitely harkens back to me to like, I don't know, like 60s, 70s, kind of like a Leonard Skinner type feel. Like the Southern bluesy rock.
I agree with that.
It gives me that
ZZ Top.
ZZ Top's another good comparison.
Yep. And I would say just like a little pinch of Jimmy in there as well, as far as like the vibe.
It's got some good guitar licks for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But then it also has like, much like I Hate Dancing, there's a couple songs that has some silliness. Like a hawk calling contest where it's like in the middle, it's like here, picky.
Oh, what was the other one? Feel the vision. And then was it Antarctica? It was like a cold day of hell or something to talk about.
I like that one.
They have some funny lines, dude. They really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely, I really enjoyed this album. It was a lot. Like, this is definitely gonna be in my personal rotation when I just want to mix things up and just throw this on to just rock out and just have a good old time.
Yeah. I definitely took me back when I listened to it. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard, rock bluesy Southern in a long time. And it took me back to, Georgia Peaches by Leonard Skinner. And you can see like in each song, you can tell that the group itself is just having a ball.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even with some of the silly titles and, and all that. I think they just really enjoy what they're doing. So the album is definitely enjoyable. And it's a lot of up-tempo songs. So it grabs you and won't let you go.
Yeah, just like Terrio said, once you get over those first couple songs and it like fully starts hitting it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like you were mentioning earlier, not about this album, just in general, you're talking about albums that like where songs kind of like will bleed into the next. They do an excellent job of that on this album.
Yes.
It's nice flow. Flow.
It just flows right into it again. And just again, like when I first got to the album, I was like, okay. I got past the first song and I was like, okay, it's all right. Second song, okay, it's better than that one. Third song, I was like, okay. Fourth song, I was like, oh, the third song's still going. Fifth song, the third song still going. Like it
right?
like I didn't know where I was at, and I looked at the screen again. I was like, oh shit, I'm like about 6 songs deep. Like, but it's just the song. It just keeps driving. Like I felt like I was at a concert. Like this is definitely one of those albums you either play the music at like minimum like at 50%. You got to go from 50 to 100% volume, or have your headphones on and just rock the fuck out. Like it's so good. It's one of those albums you definitely got to just put it on, like really like embrace it.
I'm just excited because again, I had not listened to the album whenever I put it on here.
Mm-hmm. It was a gamble.
It was a gamble, but it's definitely a great. It's only like 10 songs, so it's nice and tight and short. It doesn't like overstay its welcome or anything. And yeah, it's just one of those albums that I feel like lends itself to literally pulling up the album and just hitting play.
Yes.
You're not going to a single necessarily. It's like the whole thing is good and it all needs to be together for like the optimal experience of it.
100% that. I just kind of looked them up real quick, so forgive me if I'm stepping on your toes, but
no, go ahead.
We got 2 people from Australia.
Yeah, which I mentioned that earlier. Yes, they are an Australian band.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just think it's dope. I'm not knowingly like we're just going international. It's crazy. Just going from like the bluesy, really southern hemisphere sound of King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizards, slide on down to Blue Eclipse. So this album I listened to once and I was like, okay, but I was listening to it for another playlist. And one of the songs I had saved for the other playlist. And then I went back and listened to this album again. I was just like, this album really needs to be like showcased. And I don't think we really did any jazz per se on this album.
I was about to say that
on the podcast. Sorry,
I was about to say this is our first kind of foray into more jazzy beats.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm all for it, man. I enjoyed the hell out of this album personally.
Yeah. What about you, Kenny Boi? Any thoughts on Blue Lab Beats?
Blue Lab Beats?
Yeah, the Blue Eclipse album.
Nasty. Nasty. It's nasty, dude. I enjoyed that way more than I should have.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard of them until the playlist came out. So when I listened to it and I listened to every song and I'm like, dang, where have they been my whole life? Like it was definitely the whole playlist has been a refresher. But for me, as the older I get, I'm really liking jazz more than I used to be. And like the incorporation of the jazz and, there's some hip hop licks in there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Some real R&B chords and old R&B chords. It was just good to hear something I can put in my truck. And how I gauge music personally is like, can I put it in my truck and press play and never touch the button? Only touch the volume button and crank it up,
Mm-hmm.
And that is definitely something I can put and, put on and just let it run. And I actually saved that album on my YouTube. So when my YouTube mixes, it's going to play that album for me.
Yeah. So I didn't know anything about this group either until earlier this year when I was just searching for like just something new to listen to. I was just like, I want to hear something new from a new artist. I went under the new releases panel, whatever thing on Spotify or whatever. And I'm just like searching. And I saw, Blue Lab Beats. I was like, okay, never heard of them. The cover looks interesting, I guess. Sure, let's give it a shot. And then I hit play. And I was like, okay, this wasn't what I thought it was going to be, but all right. And then the second song came on, and that's when I got sold when I heard the second song, Say Wow, because like that was the song I was going to feature on the playlist. And then I just kept letting it ride. I was like, oh, this is different, but like familiar, but also just like refreshing all at the same time.
Yes.
So I did a little bit of research on them, and guess where they're from, Brandon?
Don't say Australia.
I'm going to guess, I mean, obviously Europe from somewhere, either England or Germany, one of the two.
They're from the UK.
Okay.
So
I was right.
Yep. Because that seems to be a popular theme. I'm really discovering my music taste through this podcast. So this is yet another group that randomly picked. And they're from the UK, and they're like a jazz electronica music gumbo group. There are two producers. Both one of them is a multi-instrumentalist, Mr. DM, and then the other guy who's just a producer, his name is NK OK. And this is their fourth album that they've done. So they've been doing like EPs and releasing material. And this came out this year around April 2024. So I've been kind of sitting on this for a minute. And I found a good quote from them. And it's like that they mentioned that they admire early hip hop and everything, but they didn't want to have to worry about the licensing and getting the releases from samples and stuff. So they said, fuck it. We'll just hire or work with other up and coming jazz musicians and upcoming talent and just have them perform the stuff. So if you notice on the album, it's featuring like all these different people. They're producing the stuff themselves, but they're just like, hey, can you come in and play this instrument? Can you come in and do this part? Can you do this vocal? And they say, we're not going to make any samples, or we're not going to purchase any samples. We're going to either sample ourselves or just make our own shit. So
you love to see that.
And like, that just really just warmed my heart, because I'm just like, damn, that is crazy. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that's pretty dope. The album itself, there's 2 songs on this album 3 songs that just rock me to my core. Say Wow, that was the first song.
Say Wow is definitely, I gotta agree, I think that's my favorite.
Yes, it's so good. The other one is Nights in Tokyo. That one gets me every time. It's so good. It's so good. It just starts off like so smooth, and then it just kicks in with like this drum and bass kind of feel, but still jazzy at the same time. That goes so hard. And then the last song, Brother. That one.
Brother is also, yeah.
That one gets me.
Honestly, I go back. It's like Say Wow's at the front, so I kind of forget about Say Wow by the time I get to the end. And then Brother hits, and it's just, yeah, that one's.
And that song talking about some real shit. It gets you in the feels. Talking about some real shit on that. I'm just like, damn, I ain't got a brother, like biological at least. And I'm just like, damn, like
I got a bunch of them.
Sucker. but yeah, I'm just like, even then, I'm just like, damn, that's some real shit. And like, and just the vibe of the song and just the sincerity of Natalie's vocals on that song, it's good. And Nights in Tokyo, like I said, it's just a whole vibe. This album has a little bit of everything from like a little bit of Afro beats, a splash of Anna piano, just hip hop, R&B, jazz, electronic. It's just everything. Like, this album is the epitome of music gumbo, and I was like, I had to feature the whole album. I couldn't just pick one. Yeah, well, I think the 2 members are actually African, born in Britain. Yeah, I actually while you were doing research on them, I was doing research on them because I was just curious of them. Because when you said it from the UK, I was thinking, I was like, it had to be, because it's just on my Reverb Nation, I have more fans from the UK area than anywhere. And it's just like, it seems like the music scene in UK, they're just really just wide open to allowing everybody to experiment and become their own. So their sound is like literally the new grocery store, right? UK music, you might as well call it a grocery store, because you go in, you got aisles of everything, a lot of different varieties. And the way this was done, I can tell this wasn't done by American group, because American record labels won't take a chance on putting on there, because it doesn't fit that typical box. Because you can't necessarily put it on V103, 107.9, or 94.5, or whatever radio station is, because they want to subjugate everything to a box in America, while overseas is just, if it's dope, put it on. Yeah, I definitely feel that spirit. Like, that's been prevalent going back to like Jimi Hendrix days and the Beatles, and and even Tina Turner, way back in the day. It's just something about the UK sound where they appreciate, for lack of better words, authenticity more so than the commercialization of music here in America. Unfortunately, it seems to be that way.
I feel like, yeah, definitely the authenticity, but also they seem very open to kind of what Kenny Boi was just saying, to like people experimenting, and like trying new things, and like, and just embracing that the artistry of that, I guess,
Yeah.
of making the music to make the music, not for money or for hits or for, radio play or anything, just making it for you and putting your emotions into it.
Yeah, definitely that. So
I just want to say real quick on this album, it's a good album when, like, outside of the Say Wow and Brother, all of my other favorite songs were like literally the ones that were just instrumental.
Yep.
Had me just vibing. And if I'm saying that, that's pretty good praise. I feel 100%. Like. I just want to point that out.
100%. If Brandon Lee, matter of fact, they need to put this on their bio blip. If Brandon Lee from the After Playlist podcast says this album is good and there's no lyrics, you're onto something.
Yeah. You are doing something right.
Yes, absolutely. So it is again, this is one of my albums that I just put on and vibe out to for sure. And now I go back to King Gizzard. When I want to rock out and be awake and having a good time, I put that album on too. So I really think, not to toot our own horns a little bit, but round 4 was pretty solid.
Yeah, we knocked it out of the park with this one. I'll toot our own horn. Yeah, I don't care.
I agree.
We killed it.
Yeah, I agree because there's not one song on this playlist that I would not listen to more than 3 times. And like in certain songs are just like, yeah, it's too, bubble gum to me, or that's they reached this and that way. But even that one with the annoying chord, right? Girl. Yeah, I would listen to that multiple times. But these 2 albums, the 2 album selections. I was wondering, why is there 2 albums in here, and like, how would I compare somebody's album of work versus one song versus album? I'm trying to figure that out. But when I listen to the thing, I'm like, dang, it's hard for me to pick my favorite song from each album. It's like, I don't want to have a favorite. I want to just listen to the whole thing. And that's
same.
And that brought me back to, early 90s, when we were growing up. You put on an album, it wasn't, you just wasn't going to the single, and you didn't, Juvenile, what was it, 100 degrees?
400 degrees, that's another classic. 400
degrees, right?
Start to finish.
That's a classic, right? There's not, or DMX is Dark and Hell is Hot. Those are just some of the ones that I really loved growing up too, and I would never just listen to the singles. And the singles to me became irrelevant versus the body of work. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? When you get into the album is better than just a single. The single is just to draw your attention, but the album is what you're banking your money off. And to me, these 2 albums, for sure, you follow the old format of saying, okay, we're going to give you a single to draw your attention, and we'll give you a couple of singles, but once you're in, we really want to gauge you by, trap you, make you become a fan by giving you some just really good music.
Exactly.
An album you just don't want to stop playing, like Confessions.
Yep.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Yep. All righty. Well, we want to thank you guys for listening to our episode and enjoying this podcast as well as this playlist. Kenny Boi, anything else you want to plug? We appreciate you, coming back after so many episodes. Can't wait to see you in another 50 episodes. We'll bring you back there.
Definitely. Hey, check it out. I want to plug all the artists all the artists who out there.
That's all the time we have today. So
right
we want to go ahead and
bruh. Haters will be haters. But I want to give a shout out to all the artists out there that's out there producing, writing, singing, rapping, or whatever it is that you do. Good quality music. The industry and people in general are just in dire need. They're dying for good artists. And I hope everybody who listens to After Playlist continues listening to them, because it's a good way to open your mind and your surrounding and your knowledge to different types of music from artists you don't hear about. Show them love. Let's get them played out so we don't constantly have to hear the same old crap. These 2 albums, download them, support the artists, and play them. Guaranteed you're going to enjoy it. Also, check out my mixtape, Test of Time. Also, DJ Kenny Boi on Facebook or at DJ Kenny Boi Mix, Instagram. And leave mean comments to Terrio.
All right. So anyway, continuing on, you can go to afterplaylist.com to get all links to our previous episodes, as well as our social media, as well as previous playlists. Again, make sure you give us specifically us, not DJ Kenny Boi. Make sure you give us a like and a share.
Negative comments to Terrio.
Anyway, until next time, keep on listening to us, the After Playlist team.
Just Brandon Lee.
Bye.
Bye.
Black Giraffe made this.